Hey there, avid listeners. Thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. Hope you're having a fantastic day. So today we're going to be talking about Queen of Dragons by Shana Abe. And this is the third book in the Drakon series. Now, I haven't read the first two books in the Drakon series. And they look like they're each almost standalones because I wasn't confused at all. I think the storytelling was really well done. I do think the world building was very solid. So we are given a hint of what it means. And basically, the Drakon are shapeshifters. They can shift into dragons, right? And here in this book, there is a tribe of Drakon. It's ancient, it's been missing, and not only that, but she's an alpha. And she was a child bride because she was an alpha. So it is very interesting the way the story unfolds. The beginning with just letters going back and forth between Marikara and the other tribe. That's the connection between the previous stories in a way. Now here, okay, so this is a fantasy, but it's also a romance. There is a reason I don't read romance. I'm sorry. I do think the overall storytelling is really interesting. I do like the tension between Princess Marikara and Kimber. I do like that tension between them. Don't get me wrong. But for me, I was more interested in the backstory, in the actual story. Like, why is she turning into a dragon at night without her knowledge? So she's sleep turning. And why is it affecting her? And why is it such a big deal? And who's hunting the dragons? Who's hunting the Drakon? And I found that to be more interesting than the actual romance, because I'm just not a romance reader. I'm sorry. I know people. One of my friends, she's my coworker, and I like to say she's my friend because I feel like we've bonded quite quickly. I think she's great. She likes romance. I don't. Romance is her section. It is not mine. And it's just, for me, I find it to be distracting, the romance. Like I said many times, I don't mind romance being in a story. I just don't want it to be the focal point, and that's what seems to be happening here, and that's why I don't like it, to be perfectly honest, because it's not interesting to me personally, and that's just my personal preference. Though some people love romance, some people don't. Some people love nonfiction. That is not me either. My husband loves nonfiction, but he wouldn't be interested in any of the things I read. Everyone has different taste. But I did like the world building. I did think the characterization was really well done. Mari is Spitfire. She's kind of obnoxious, but she's like, I'm from Transylvania, and your social norms here in England or Ireland, I forget, they don't interest me at all. I'm a princess. I'm gonna do what I want. Even though she is risking everyone, the knowledge of Drakon coming alive, right? So she's risking everyone finding out that Drakon are alive. And mind you, she's doing that even though she's very much aware that someone is hunting Drakon, which is why she came here in the first place. She's like, hey, someone's hunting us. no one's taking her seriously, which is why she's being obnoxious. She's like, you guys are going to take me seriously, whether you like it or not. I'm not just some damsel in distress. I'm a princess. I'm pretty fierce, and I will kick your ass if you mess with me. So I really do like her as a character. I really did find her to be interesting. I do like the characterization. And again, I do like the tension between her and Kimber. I thought it was really well done. But I think some of that tension, again, for me, it was just taken away by that romance. And now I'm going to keep harping on the romance. I'm sorry. It's just not my cup of tea. And mind you, this book has been sitting, I'm pretty sure me and my mom bought the book because it just said Queen of Dragons on it. And as I've said many times, I will read anything and anything that has to do with dragons. I freaking love dragons. But I think we've discovered that I may not always like it. This is definitely a book that would be found in the romance section versus the fantasy section. It is very much fantasy romance. It is very much paranormal romance, historical romance. It is not for me. When the romance comes first, that's not my cup of tea. Now, that's not to say anything bad about the author. I do think that she did a fantastic job with her storytelling. Again, I haven't read the first 2 books in the series, but I still wasn't lost. I understood this world. I understood the Drakon. I understood how the different courts were able to work. But another thing for me that was missing with the storytelling is I liked her kingdom in Transylvania. I was very much interested in it. And we only get to see it in the beginning because when she leaves, it's gone. And considering her brother, who's now king, does have a perspective early on in the story, I was really hoping for more of the political intrigue regarding Transylvania. Again, I was more interested in the story, the backstory, the history, the politics, and the characters versus the romance. And that's why I don't like romance, because for me, I feel like it overshadows what is otherwise really good storytelling and writing. But for me, it wasn't my cup of tea, unfortunately. And I was really sad and disappointed that we didn't get to go back to Transylvania to figure out some more of the mystery, to see what was happening in her kingdom without her, with her brother ruling, because he is also a little insecure. I can't remember clearly if he can turn into a dragon or not, but he does love his sister, and his sister is the one who made him king. After the king died, she's like, I choose you. So she made him king, and she took a step back, and now she's princess, right? And she's totally okay with it. She's just like, no, I want you to be king. He doesn't have insecurities regarding his position. What he does have insecurities about is he's not as good a shifter as she is. She can shift just effortlessly. And it was good storytelling, but I think the romance really did overshadow much of the plot for me, and I just kind of wanted to keep skipping, like, oh my god, I don't care. Like, I get it, you two love each other. You guys are alpha and alpha. Get it over with already. At some point, that tension does become quite annoying for me. Especially when it's just the focal point, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm sorry. This is why I don't read romance. This is why I don't read romance. It's just not my cup of tea. But I think my coworker would actually love this book. She might actually really like it, so I might give the book to her. I don't think my mom's gonna like it, and we bought the book together at I think we bought it at Borders. I mean, that's how long this book has been sitting on my bookcase. I'm just trying to go through all my books at this point. I haven't really read any ebooks lately, but I'm just trying to get through all my books. And I just keep buying books. It's an addiction for me. but it's a good addiction. You know, I can be addicted to other things. But, you know, I really did enjoy the rest of the story. I like the mystery, I like the intrigue, I like the shifting, I love the dragons. Again, I love the characterization. I pretty much loved everything except the romance. And that's only because I felt like the romance was distracting the reader from the actual plot that was going on here. So, you know, on that note, I'll give it a 3. You know, not my cup of tea, but it was not poorly written. It was well written. Characterization again, spot on. Princess Mari, she is a fierce, pardon my language, bitch. She's a fierce bitch, and I love her for it. I love her. Like, I wish I were that snarky and charismatic and ostentatious and obnoxious. So I think she was a really good character. But everything else, you know, it was well done. I found the romance to be really distracting, and I get it. It's a romance book, but this is why I don't read romance, because I don't care about it at all. It doesn't interest me. And even reading it here, I did not find it interesting. I found everything else interesting, and I found it to be a distraction. So again, 3 out of 5 stars. If you want to go ahead and purchase the book, I do recommend purchasing the book from your local bookseller, online book retailer. If money's tight, please check out the book from your local library. And on that note, I hope you all will continue to support me here by liking this podcast, sharing it with all your book loving friends, and subscribing to it. On that note, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.